been the good luck of this old-timer to travel the world by some queer ways, by goat and yak train in the Himalaya, by horse across the Turkish mountains. But if you want to go to the Outer Hebrides, if you want to explore the furthest Hebrides, you need your own boat. You know, there's a story told about the MacNeil of Barra, who was offered a place in Noah's Ark, and he sent a message which was of the following: I beg to thank Noah for his kind offer, but I would remind him that MacNeil has a boat of his own. Well, last summer in that wonderful sunshine, we had a boat of our own, and we went to explore these islands. Now, I've spent a lot of time exploring the Hebrides by McBrain's, sailing out of Oban or Skye. But if you want to see the real Hebrides, approach them from the west, traveling the old way by the wind, then there's nothing finer if you're a good sailor. And that's the rub. I'm not a good sailor. So on this journey, I had to go armed with a whole set of quells, ready to take them. And I kept putting off that day. I didn't put off the day. From Loch Sween, the anchor was up, the sails were set, and Weir was away. Well, you won't find me aboard a wee boat going out to Atlantic waters because I'm a landsman. Normally, I would avoid anything that involves being hoisted about in the surface of the waves. But I'm going to the Hebrides, to a lot of uninhabited islands, a few that are inhabited, but the ones that don't have any transport service oblige you to use your own boat. And I've always felt like Charles Darwin, that the proper place to appreciate the sea is from the land, where you can watch the collision of the waves on the shore instead of being a target for the sea's malevolence as you're pitched about in wee boats. Well, Prince Charlie was tossed about plenty in these Atlantic waters of the inner and outer Hebrides, where I'm going, but I've still got to learn how to sail this boat. This is the saloon of the yacht Ailey. Very comfortable, so far, so good. I'm going to learn a lot, but first of all, the skipper's got to teach me. So I'm going up to meet Skipper Craig, up top sides, I believe it's called, and learn the wrinkles. We're in the Sea of the Hebrides, going towards Eriskay, and above me, that great stretch of scale kirk. What's it called, that first one, the big one?
That's the mainsail.
What about the other one?
Well, the other one's our number one Genoa jib. That's the largest Genoa jib we carry.
And that's the one that's billowing out more than the other?
Yes, that's the one forward of the mast.
How high is the mast?
The mast's about 65 feet
And
from the deck.
It's that great height that makes us lean over so much.
Yes, and that's balanced by the keel below.
Aha. Now, there's a thing that puzzles me straight away. Supposing you were to give me this wheel, how do I know I can keep these sails full of wind?
Well, we would give you a course to steer on, and we would trim the sails, and if you keep steady on that course, then the boat will be doing our best speed.
What speed are we doing now?
We're doing about 7 knots at the moment.
Is that regarded as pretty good? It feels fast to me.
Yes, it's very good for this breeze. This is perfect sailing weather. Calm sea and a good strong breeze and the sun shining.
I think it'd be a good idea for me to have a try at something. Can you give me an order, pull up a sheet or something, so I get the feel? I get the feeling that you need one leg longer than the other in order to work a boat like this, because we're going over at such an angle.
Well, we can make you have a try at the wheel.
That'd be good.
Yes. Leslie will hand over to you.
Right, Leslie.
You just head up to the mountain peak, just in front.
Well, that
On
wee
the
one.
bow.
Oh, yes, the very distant one.
Yes.
Aha.
Okay.
Aye, I've got him.
Fine.
Well, it's like handling a lively horse, this, Kirk. Gee whiz, what a spread of sail.
Well, it's not nearly as lively as it could be because we've got the wind off the land and it's really a very flat sea, and so it's blowing quite hard.
What's its top speed then when it's really charging?
Well, we're doing about 7 knots just now, but you might do a good bit more than that, perhaps about another 2 knots.
See, great stuff. Now, you've been at sea an awful long time. How long have you actually been at sea?
I was a boy, of course, when I started.
And who was teaching you then?
Well, my father. He had his master's ticket in sail.
So you grew up with it?
I grew up with it.
At this moment, I seem to have lost the sail's hiding my objective. Just a minute now.
Well, I think,
I've got it again. The sail was hiding the wee peak, you know?
yes, I think you were a wee bit off course.
That's because I couldn't see it. Do you prefer a wooden yacht yourself?
No, personally, I prefer a glass fibre boat because there's an awful lot less of work to do in the fitting out.
How about the business of the reading of the charts and all the rest of it, you know? Looking at these reef-infested waters, you must always know where you are, eh?
Yes, you've got to know where you are all the time or you can get into trouble.
And are these charts difficult to read?
No, no. It's just, I would think, like a mountaineering map to you.
Well, I don't know. You always know what's under your feet when you're climbing. You don't know what's under the keel of the boat here.
Oh, well, I would much rather be sitting here than up on the edge of some cliff face on a mountain.
Is that right?
Yes, very much so.
If you weren't here, I'd be terrified right now. I'll tell you that.
I don't mind going up a boat's mast, but I wouldn't like going over the end of a cliff on a rope.
Oh, well, I'll go up the mast. If you just give the orders that'll keep us right. As it is, you know, there's more drift than I expected here. I suppose an experienced helmsman wouldn't turn the wheel as often as I'm doing at the moment.
No, the thing is, once you get it on course, she only needs a very, very small turn either way.
I'm probably turning it too much.
I think
you
you're
know.
turning it a wee bit far.
Well, when it comes round, I'll try and be gentler.
Yes.
Handle it like a horse, eh?
Yeah.
Kirk, I'd love to see the other bit of the ship, especially all these bits and pieces I don't understand, if you could get somebody to take the wheel.
Yes, Leslie, will you come aft and take the wheel?
Fine, we're on the Scour of Egg, Leslie.
Thank you.
You want to start right aft?
Yes, I'd like to see the lot. How about this, sir?
Well, that's the rescue raft. And you throw that over the side, it automatically blows itself up. And you're sitting in a little boat with a hood.
Wee tent.
Yes.
How many does it hold?
It holds 6, I think.
Two's going to be unlucky then.
That's right.
Now, the steering.
Yes.
Was
Well,
it,
it's wheel steering.
so you transmit from the wheel through the spindle to the rudder, is that
That's
it?
correct, yes, to the rudder head.
So we're up now then, Kirk, and
Right.
go forward. Hi, what are these things I'm holding on to now?
These are the shrouds. These are the lower shrouds, and the ones at your back are topmost shrouds.
Oh, aye, going right up to the top of the
yes,
mast.
that's holding
Holding
the
it
mast
in
up.
position.
Yes.
But what about these other ones going the other way?
These are stays. There's 2 aft, and there are 2 stays forward.
So it's just like tent pegs.
Yes, I think that is. You know more about tents than I do.
But all these ropes are a bit confusing.
Well, the one I've got my hand on is the topping lift, which holds the boom up when the sail comes off.
Aha.
And the others are halyards. You have a spinnaker halyard. You foresail halyard, the jib halyard, and the main halyard.
Now, halyard, is that something that you pull and up goes the thing?
That's quite correct, yes.
Up goes the sail.
Yes. There are really no ropes in a boat. These are stays, halyards, and you've got the ones that you're coming along the deck are sheets. The main sheet, we saw that a few minutes ago.
And these are shrouds.
And these are shrouds, and the others are stays. So you're completely, it's rope, but it's never called a rope.
Everything's got a definition.
Exactly.
But otherwise it'd be confusing.
That's right.
Now, the thing that kind of puzzles me at the moment, though, is what you do with them all. You know, you've told me what they do, but until you get the hang of just where they hang on the sail, it's hard to find. I think if we went up to the bow,
Yes.
we'd get an idea of where they all go.
Yes.
Aye. Now you can see it all. There's the stay going up there, the sheet there for pulling it in,
That's right.
the stays that are holding the mainsail,
Correct.
and how the halyards pull
Yes. And
up the mainsail,
the wee flag up at the top is the burgee.
the bargee. So, we're going to be using the wind in this journey in the old way, sailing as close to the wind as we can. Is that the idea?
Well, it depends where you want to go, but if you can't go straight against the wind. You have to tack then, and then you're sailing as close as you can.
But meantime, we're sailing about 7 knots,
Yes, and we've the wind free at the moment.
and we're heading for the Outer Hebrides.
That's right.
And I've been aboard now for about 20 hours, and I haven't been sick yet.
Good for you.
I think I'm going to make a sailor.
Well, you couldn't very well be sick on a day like this.
Oh, I don't know. You can be sick going over the Clyde ferry.
Aye.
Let's go below and have some of that coffee.
Right.
Right.
You lead the way.
Thank you. Oh, well, that was a great cup of coffee. I think I'm going to enjoy this sailing before the wind like this. I'm just thinking of Bonnie Prince Charlie and how he was chased across the Outer Hebrides. All the boat journeys he made, if you look at the lines across the map, you're apt to think that he was travelling by that well-known company that serves the Western Isles. But he was sailing in small ships under sail, or he didn't have any sail at all. He was in the hands of rowers. So it brings home the space of this ocean and the difficulty of travelling. But at the end of Charlie's life, he looked back with great enjoyment to these years when he was one of the hunted. And I'm surprised to find that I'm enjoying this so much. I think I'm going to be a sailor too at the end of it. Leslie Mill, how long have you been sailing?
I've been sailing since I was 6 months old.
Do you remember it?
I don't remember that part now.
Your father's always had a yacht. Is that
Yes,
so?
yes. Before he was married, he had a yacht. And we've all been brought up in it, the whole family.
and it's your life.
I love it, yes. I wouldn't do without it.
I noticed when we were changing the sail there, it was you who drew attention to the fact that the mast was bending a bit. It was time we changed the jib.
It was the number 1 we had up, and I thought it was the mast at the top was bending, so I thought the number 2 would be a bit better.
What was the reason for that?
The number 1's a bigger sail, and the number 2's higher cut, and it also doesn't go to the top of the mast. It would be better to, so we changed down to number 2. Not so much for the comfort aspect, but for the safety aspect.
Oh, I see. So the mast could have snapped.
The top of the mast, yes. But now the number 2 only comes to the second cross trees, and there's support by the running backstay right to the top.
Now, I know you do quite a bit of racing. Do you prefer to race than do what we're doing?
I enjoy both. It's 2 different atmospheres. This is more relaxing, but I enjoy the competitive aspect of racing as well.
How about the sailing that we've been doing in this trip? Have you any opinions about whether it's been easy or whether it's been hard or what? I'd love to know.
The sailing in this trip has been very easy, comparatively speaking. So I'm surprised at the good weather we've had. It's been super sailing weather altogether. We had a great time.
Calm seas?
Yes, this is a lot calmer than I expected the Minch to be. Yes.
Not very much rain?
No rain at all, no.
And the sea not too rough?
Not at all.
Oh, well, I hope it will continue, Leslie.
So do I. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, the skipper says it's been a marvellous sailing day. We couldn't have had a better, with a strong northwest wind sailing at 7 to 8 knots, cutting the Sea of the Hebrides and gradually reducing that distance between these bare outer Hebrides to the volcanic rocks of the inner Hebrides. Behind me now, the island of Rum and Egg, the Cocktail Isles, and in front of them, the Isle of Muck. Muck comes from the Gaelic word muic, a sow, the Pig's Island. And now we're heading straight for Ardnamurchan Point, the most westerly point in the British mainland, projecting out towards the Atlantic. We'll go round it and enter the Sound of Mull. And through the Sound of Mull and the ebb tide, we should have very good sailing for a few hours to anchor off Mull in Loch Spelvey. At the moment, the sun is warm, the sea is calming down. It was a wee bit rough in the middle because always this westerly point between Ardnamurchan and the inner Hebrides carries a considerable swell. The strange thing about the inner Hebrides, although they shield the mainland from the main force of the sea, at the same time they're rather devoid of good anchorages. We might have anchored in Muck this afternoon and done a wee story there, but I don't think we could have managed it in the present swell. It's going to be another few hours great sailing for us. I must admit it was fine to get out of the swell in the open ocean, round Ardnamurchan Point and come into the Sound of Mull. You could sit comfortably on the deck enjoying the sun with the rocks of Ardnamurchan on one side. These are the hard volcanic rocks, rocks that have been cooked below the surface of the earth, but now they've been excavated by the action of erosion and they stand there like clean bones. And by contrast, the greenery on the other side of the Sound, the coast of Mull. This was soil that was thrown up in the form of volcanic ash, bubbled out of the ground and built up the high peak of Ben More. So what you're looking at is an island that's very favourable to man, good grazing. And as you sail through the Sound of Mull, you realise that you're in a seaway for ships, because all the time we were seeing other yachts, McBrain's boat passing, heading for Barra. We were heading for Loch Spelvey to anchor for the night. It was a lovely sunset too, with Dúr Castle standing against the gateway to the open ocean. But here in the Firth of Lorne, I'm in another gateway. From here you can penetrate northward up to Fort William and southward to the Isles of the Sea, and to its right, the great whirlpool of Corryvreckan. Hello again. Well, all our timing today was aimed at getting here at slack tide because that is Scarborough and on the other side is Jura. And where I am now is the most notorious place in Scotland. This is the overfall of Corryvreckan, where the greatest whirlpools in Scotland form. Its roar can be heard for 20 miles when the tide is running at 7 or 8 knots. That's as fast as this boat has sailed on our trip. Now, that speed alone is not what makes it so dangerous. There's a 90-foot pinnacle on the bed of the ocean here. And when the tide is turning, the upsurging of the water round this pinnacle, meeting the force of the current going the other way, makes the sea boil and whirl. So, if you're caught in this, you have very little chance of getting out unless you've got very, very powerful engines indeed. There was a cargo boat nearly caught here a few years ago. The cargo shifted, it was cattle, and all the cattle had to be thrown overboard, and even so, the vessel only escaped. Well, this is the ebb. It's great for us. The sailing is a joy, but we still have one more passage to make before we're at anchor tonight, through the Doris Moor. What a great trip we've had. With the weather in our favour, we're on our way out to Barrahead, the most southerly of the Outer Hebrides. We've travelled north up the line of the Outer Hebrides and then back across the Inner Hebrides to Ardnamurchan Point. And in all the time we've been blessed with the marvellous variety of West Highland weather. You know, yachtsmen say there is nowhere in the world so challenging as the skerries, the rocks, the currents of the Hebrides. You know, it pleases me a lot that I managed to stand it, because not being a good sailor, I rather dreaded it. But here I am, almost home, and I haven't been seasick. That's something to remember.